new clip that they edited and let me know what you think. Because it's insane. Let's see what they say here.
And we fight. We're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. We're going to cheer on.
I mean, that's shocking, isn't it?
Disgraceful. You know what's mad about it? I made a video about it last week, earlier in the week. So I'm something of an expert in the topic now. But yeah, essentially what they did was they spliced a comment from an hour, it totally unrelated to this. An hour later, he was having a chat and he was saying something else. And he said, we're going to fight like hell. And then they spliced it in there and totally misrepresented him. He said we're going to peacefully protest. He said on numerous times we're going to peacefully protest.
I heard, you know what's a funny thing, Matt? That this is when it comes down to gaslighting. Because I heard the entire speech. But then later I saw the news and it's like, is that a different speech that I heard? I thought maybe he'd come back. No, I kid you not. Because what I heard was not that. And I thought, oops, maybe he went back later, but then the clothes look the same. And, it's like you really doubt yourself, don't you?
No, I don't. I'm so filled with righteous fury. I don't believe. I've said this before. If a BBC presenter spontaneously combusted and burst into flames in front of my eyes and told me it was a little bit warm, I wouldn't believe him. I'd go and get a hat and a scarf if a flaming BBC presenter told me he was a little bit toasty. I don't believe a single word they tell me. So what I think is a bigger scandal is this encompasses multiple media organisations.
Yes.
And it's almost a little bit strange to me that they've blew it up now. The American media jumped on it and blew it up now. It's the BBC because they can wipe out the competitor. Because you know as well as I do, they've all been doing this for years. CNN.
Yeah, but did you see that thing with Princess Diana, the panorama? I mean, I'm so shocked Martin Bashir didn't do one day in jail. And this was signed up for main. I mean, and people don't understand life, Matt. It's like when you throw a little pebble in a pond, it creates large ripples. If he hadn't tricked Princess Diana, she wouldn't have been paranoid. She wouldn't have done that interview. She probably would have still be married to Charles. She, even though separated or whatever, she would still be alive. But that basically detonated a chain of events, and of whom nobody was found guilty or liable for anything.
Yeah, no, it's mental. Almost everything that's gone viral about Trump is just outright fiction. I mean, you know that, right? Like, for example, the very fine people hoax. I was talking to my mother-in-law about that.
The what?
Like, the very fine people hoax. Do you know about that one?
What's that? No.
So they said that Donald Trump called white nationalists, Klansmen, and far-right, like full far-right activist types, very fine people. And everyone in America thinks this happened. They think it's true. They think it's a real thing. And it's because they did exactly what the BBC did, which is misquoted him and lied about him. And that's what I'm saying, whereby I feel like CNN and MSNBC are in on this because they just want to wipe a competitor out, because that's exactly what happened. Basically, I mean, we can probably find it. I just don't like pissing around while we're on a live stream. Basically, he's on camera and he goes, obviously, I mean, I'm quoting him now. The quote starts now. He goes, obviously, I'm not talking about...
You're imitating him so well.
Yeah, I try to do the impression. I swear, he goes, obviously, I'm not talking about the far right, the extremist right, but there were very fine people, good Americans on both sides out there. And they just clipped the first 5 seconds off the quote, so you don't get the, obviously, I'm not talking about the far right. And then that went viral. And in America...
So funny, Matt. You really do with it. I mean, you still have a little bit of an accent, but go for it, buddy.
I can't get rid of my northern accent. There's 150 million people in America who think Donald Trump called far-right fascists very fine people, and he didn't. It is a complete fiction. I wonder if I'll tell you what. I'll just type it on Twitter. Maybe it'll come up.
The
Because
thing is
honestly,
that people are, I mean, I just want to make something clear here on this side because some people on the side chat are going to say, this is not a pro Donald Trump thing. This is something that should concern you because if they're able to do that to a powerful man like Donald Trump, they do it to everybody. And they should have been called out with Princess Diana thing started because to me, that's the detonator of everything, that they got away with it. And they just escalated from there, to tell you the truth.
Here we go. I
So
found
this
it.
is not about Trump. This is not being pro-Trump. It could be anybody, but it goes to show the distortion, the dishonesty of it all.
Honestly, I'm surprised you've never seen this one. This is so. Look how good this is. This is 17 seconds.
Wait, let me get rid of this.
It's just as bad as the BBC one, but because they didn't splice two clips together, they just cut a clip in half. It's not as famous, but this is exactly what happened. This is exactly what he said, 17 seconds. And they just clipped the first 5 seconds off. And now everyone in America, including me mother-in-law and all of her old boomer mates, they think Donald Trump said, yeah, the neo-Nazis are great, very fine people. Look at this.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. And you had people.
So that was the quote. He literally says, I'm specifically not talking about neo-Nazis and the far right. And then the second it went like viral, they just clipped all that off the start. So the quote that went viral was, oh, there's very fine people on both sides. So it's a total hoax. And there's 100 odd million boomers in America specifically and around the world in general that think Donald Trump called white nationalists very fine people. And, well, first of all, I happen to think lots of them are very fine people. But secondly, he didn't say that. He just didn't say it. So what I'm getting at is, yeah, the BBC wants bulldozing, but he's late to the party there. I've been saying that for years. Bulldoze the BBC while the 9 o'clock news is on, going out live. I'd love to see it like, here is the news. Like JCB comes through the wall and just takes his desk out. But they're late to the party because this is what's been going on for years. And I showed you another good one. This is about a year ago. I'm sure I showed you it. With Patrice Cullors on, where she said it was Black Lives Matter.
I think we saw that. We did that one, yeah.
Yeah,
but
where she said, don't smash our stuff up. We need our weave, like whatever their shops are. We need our KFC. We need our weave. Go to the white areas, smash their stuff up.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And they clipped the go to the white areas, smash their stuff up, and said, and here we see Patrice Cullors giving a plea for peace. And they just had to go, oh, we don't want any violence, we don't want any trouble. She goes, git, and it goes, zip, clips her off, and they go, oh, what a moving plea for peace there. She was literally inciting violence.
And isn't she been now indicted for fraud and stealing millions of dollars? They had no office. The BLM had no office. They raised over 80 or 90 million or something, like even more, I think. But they stole pretty much all of it, and now they've been indicted.
Again, does this shock anyone? Anyone who even, I nearly said anyone with a hole in their ass, but that does include a lot of communists. Anyone who pays attention to the real world knows that every single time socialist types get their hands on money, they steal it. Because the tightest, greediest people in the world are socialists. I refuse to believe that it's not the case. You must have noticed this in your real life, because I always tell this like story just allegorically, and I bet you it's happened to you before as well. You must be friends with someone who's a socialist, like a self-avowed socialist. Yeah. Right? You must. I know plenty. Being in from Middlesbrough, I know a few, right? Mm-hmm. And the two blokes out of my massive gang of friends who are proper devout hardcore socialists, they're the tightest people you'll ever meet. One of them, I still torture about it to this day. I took 50 pence off him for the pool table because it took 50 pence pieces, and we had a game of pool. And then about an hour later, he goes to me, have you got my 50 pence? And this is like, when you're out on the piss with your friends, you're buying each other pints. You don't keep track of what you're buying.
You know what? I had my Canadian, my English literature teacher. She was teaching at a private high school, right? And she was a former Canadian nun. But now she was no longer a nun. And then she was telling us that we shouldn't have that. She was criticizing our way of life because we're in a private school, clearly, or public, like you call it in England. And then we were planning our graduation party. And this big fat cow, Miss Mooney, I shouldn't say that, she's still alive.
Of course you should. Of course you should. Miss
So
Mooney,
Mrs.
I'll
Mooney,
do
she
it.
was like, so you're having now, you could be donating your money, blah, blah, blah. So she was bitching about our things. Well, she invites us to go to her house. This is in a third world country. Her house, her floors had marbles. It was made out of marble, the floor. I mean, it was a mansion bigger than most of us had. And like, I mean, and this is the socialist teacher
Typical.
preaching about that, you know. It's like, and we looked at each other, we out of respect because we were teens, you know, and she's the teacher. But we said among ourselves, how? I mean, this woman had literal a mansion with marble floors, countertops, and everything. She's bitching about us getting a little graduation
Typical.
party.
And you didn't want to call her a fat cow. I'll do it. Miss Mooney, you big fat slut bucket. You big ugly.
And I don't know why my school did this. My school, you know what my school did? My school, they had the classrooms and the walls were thin. So they put Mrs. Gilmore. I loved her. She was our U.S. history teacher. She was a former Marine. So every day, you know, she would sing the national anthem. You know, they just hated each other because, you know, Mrs. Gilmore was so much fun, you know, and she was anti-communist. And then they paired her right next to Mrs. Gilmore. I mean, their fights.
Amazing.
They were fighting all the time. It was terrible. But the commies are like that. Most of them, anyway.
All of them. They're obsessed with wealth. It's my theory. It's like normal people, like normal working class people, centre left, centre right, like normal people. They're not obsessed with money. They don't spend the time thinking about money all the time. They think about like the friends, the family, the hobby, the social life, the dog, the kids. They're not obsessed with wealth and cash. And all the people I know that are socialists and communists, they're the greediest, most spiteful people.
They don't work for it. They usually communists don't work for it. They either confiscate it or they steal it or whatever.
And the worst one I know, a lad called John, he's been on benefits for like 13 years or something. He worked for it throughout his 20s and his early 30s, and he got more and more resentful and spiteful. And then he just hasn't worked since. He's been on the rock and roll for like 15 years, just living in a scruffy council house, spending 10 hours a day whinging about them on Twitter. They're unbelievable, these people. So yeah, Mrs. Mooney sounds like, I'll tell you what we can segue into. You're saying about these two women who hated each other, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about it at work last week because there was a story about how they're all crying about misogyny on the internet. And they checked out the numbers for it, and they found that of the abuse directed at like famous women on the internet, something like 80% of it is from other women, which I find hilarious. It's like, and I have a theory about that, right? It's, don't you think like innate in humans, because we're an evolved primate, is a sort of inherent preference for one over the other? Like, I think that I've found like little girls, like 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old little girls, seem to prefer men, and little boys, like little 4, 5-year-old kids, like the mum. They're always hanging around the mother. And I know when I was a little kid, I loved my mum and I was scared of me dad. And it's like, I feel like it's almost logical to expect that women hate women much more than men do. Like men, we like women. We're pre-programmed to like women. We spend all of our time trying to seduce them and lying to them so they'll sleep with us, right? The ones who are vitriolic towards attractive women on the internet is other women, and yet they all dress it up as misogyny. Whenever you see some like fit left-wing woman on Twitter, they're all going, oh, look at all this misogynistic hate, and trying to turn it into news stories like the BBC and CNN. It's all like misogyny on the rise. And then you read the comments, and if you actually look at the people writing them, the men are all like, oh, I'd still shag her. And the women are like, you fucking whore. Like, it's a myth, isn't it? The hate comes from men.
But it's so funny. Today I want to get your take on this, because since I talked to you, Prince Andrew is no longer a prince. And anything. And you know what's so funny, Matt? People are so angry at me because for years I was the only one on the internet saying that all it took was a letters patent from the king, from the monarch. That's all. No, it doesn't. You need a act of parliament, blah, blah, blah. And all it did in the end was a letters patent. That's it. The king basically stripped him of all titles. So now people are hating on me for that, rather than saying, oh, yeah, because the mainstream media was completely lying to people, gaslighting people. And part of it, I think, is because now that we know that it's so easy, it's like, why don't you strip these others as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've noticed
So
that.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh no, it's too easy. Oh no, it was an extreme case. And my point is, how much of a degenerate do you have to be in order for you to lose the titles?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, look at the corridors of power in the Western world. Like, if you're not a degenerate, you're the weird one. Like, all of them
No,
are
really, it's like a
complete freaks.
prerequisite.
Yeah, like I can imagine if I got elected to Parliament, I'd walk in, doors would open, I'd see like Keir Starmer getting rogered by a Ukrainian rent boy. Someone like Peter Mandelson snorting a line of Colombian marching powder off a rent boy's cock, and they'd be like, "Whoa, what you doing, weirdo?" Like I'm just reading the newspaper. Like the corridors of power in the Western world are infested by degenerates, and I've got a theory for that. Right? Look at the Catholic Church.
Oh,
I
God.
honestly think,
And I'm a
right?
Catholic, guys, but I know even I can.
Yeah, because think about it. If you like, I mean, there's I've got two theories about it. First of all, I do think that the enforced celibacy is a bad idea, and I do think there'll be some men that, if they're trying not to go anywhere near a woman for like a few decades, they might just have like an explosion of like, well, I suppose a choir boy will do then. But so there's that element of it. But then the other element is pedos and kiddie fiddlers. They go and they're drawn towards the Catholic Church
And the BBC
because
is
they
filled with
know.
kitty fillers,
Well, so it's linked because they know if they get into a position of power and authority, it's easier to get prey, to find people to prey upon. So, like, all of the perverts and degenerates and weirdos are like driven towards public service or getting in as an elite, like a BBC newsreader or Jimmy Savile or people that are trusted. And you can't go a week without a scandal about some British MP. There was one only a couple of months back, quite a big Labour MP who got caught, as usual, sending filth to children. Like, they're all total degenerates. I've told you what my theory is. I think we should just completely get rid of the whole House of Parliament the way it's ran, and have it where you get forcibly nominated. I think that, like, on your ballots every time we have an election, there should be a writing spot at the bottom and say, write someone in who you think's a pillar of the community.
But it's everywhere, isn't it, Matt? It's everywhere. It's like now it's considered almost like a good trait for you to have if you've been convicted or something like that of doing those kinds of things. This is terrible. But I wanted to talk to you about this Prince Andrew thing because it's interesting that the Congress of the United States are asking for Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. We're right to seek your cooperation in the Committee on Oversight and Government Reforms Committee investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. They're not investigating anymore. I mean, the committee seeking to uncover the identities of Mr. Epstein's co-conspirators. All you have to do is tell the 3 judges in New York to unseal the files. It's your own people. What is really interesting to me is that I believe that Andrew lied. I believe that he should be fully investigated. I don't believe he should be the only one, but people are saying that he shouldn't be investigated because he's the only one exposed. Yeah, he should be investigated, even if it's the only one exposed for now, because he could sing like a canary, like he might have seen other people that he could complain and talk to them about if he's pushed, and he can make because I don't believe he's the only one. But why is the Senate of the United States not asking for Bill Clinton to be investigated? Bill Gates. We know them. There was this reporter who did that interview that said that Bill Gates was pretty much living there. Melinda Gates has come out and said that one of the main reason for her divorce was Bill's close ties to Epstein. Yeah. Why do you think that Congress is focusing so much, or the Senate, on Andrew, who's an idiot, and a British one, which they're not going to extradite?
Yeah. Well, again,
instead of their homegrown ones, why do you think that is?
Well, my answer
is
and
yes,
the same.
I just want to say something. Yes, Charles is on that list. Charles was in the island.
Yeah. Well, the answer will be similar to my last one, right? Because this is what I'm getting at. The pulling the BBC over the coals related to this splicing incident because they've been doing it themselves, and it's easier to pass the buck if you toss it across the pond and put it on foreign shoulders. The reason they're obsessed with this is because I think as you've just correctly said, Bill Gates is on there, sure. Clinton, yeah. But that is just the merest glimpse into how far this goes. Like, all of the corridors of power in the United States, all of them, are involved with people like Epstein, hundreds and hundreds of them, maybe thousands of them, all the congressmen, everyone on Capitol Hill, all the former presidents, all the statesmen, all the actors and the singers and all the Hollywood, all the great and the good in America. 90% of them are scumbags. And the amount of people that would be thrown to the wolves if they actually started going after them all, the list would be 20 foot long. It'd be longer than E.T.'s neck, right? And that's why they're concentrating on an easy win like Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew doesn't even look like the worst of them, to be honest. And this is what they were trying to slag Megyn Kelly off for. Again, willful. I hate the left so much. I've got more and more angry about it. The thing I really, really, really hate about them, right, is they are willfully ignorant. They pretend that they don't know what you're talking about every time you have a go at them, because they're disingenuous. They try and pretend they haven't got a clue what you're on about, so they can like obfuscate. Like, so they'll make you explain something to them 10 times, and they'll be like, "Oh, I still don't understand." You can't have a conversation with them. You can't have rational discourse with them, because when you tell them outright, they go, "Oh, that doesn't make any sense to me." You know what I mean? Like willful ignorance. I seen loads of them on there yesterday.
I think it's like gaslighting at its worst. You know, I was watching a thing that Candace Owens put out with Charlie Kirk, and he gave a very good example. He said that, let's say you're in the trenches and you're being shot at. I mean, you're. By the way, Matt, shit, I forgot to wear my poppy. Happy Veterans Days and Remembrance Day, guys. By the way, those of you who don't know, shut up, Matt. Matt is a proper veteran. You did 5 tours, right, sweetie?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Royal Marine. He's a proper G. Yes. He's not like Harry the wanker. No Harry wankering around. You didn't have bodyguards protecting your little pedicures, right? Toes, right?
Nah, no. That's why I look weather beaten.
What do you mean? Are you telling me that all Royal Marines or people in the Army, they don't have their own bodyguards?
No, they don't. No, it doesn't work that way.
Isn't that terrible? But it's like, so I want to say thank you for your service, Matt. You know, in this week of Remembrance Day, thank you for your service. And I just wanted to shut up. Let people thank you. And then, but I wanted to say, did you see the Good Morning Britain or something? Yes, thank you for your service. 5 tours, people. Lest we forget how they humiliated this veteran on air. Did you see that scandal?
Yeah, disgraceful. I made a video about it. Yeah, the wankers aren't there. Again, that was another example of what I'm talking about, where they pretend they don't know what they're on about. The Adil Ray, the jihadi, who was talking to him, was like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by... He's trying to trip him up. The reason I mention it with regards to Megyn Kelly is because I'll show you. Look at this one. Megyn Kelly. So she said something that every normal human fully understands, but they pretend they don't, so they have a fake headline to write, right? Because Megyn Kelly, if you watch the show, they're discussing about all this stuff. And all she said was, which is 100% correct, I'll say it, I don't care what anyone says, there is a massive difference between being a little bit of a dirty get, like I think Randy Andy is. And this is the difference. Randy Andy's a dirty, filthy bugger, because it is totally immoral. Nobody thinks it's acceptable for an older man to be shagging young lasses. But there is a massive difference between a 15 or a 16-year-old girl and a 3 or a 4-year-old girl. Because then you've gone from dirty bugger to full-blown deranged pedo.
PDF, yes, yeah.
And that's all she said. She said, yeah, listen, obviously he's out of order, but there's a big difference between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old. And the left have spent the last 48 hours saying, oh, what's going on? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's send Megyn Kelly's kids out. She's not saying that. She's not saying it's fine for a 70-year-old to be shagging a 15-year-old. But she's saying one is abhorrent behavior.
Well, if that were the case, what's his name? This famous actor who doesn't date above 25?
Leonardo DiCaprio, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Because the average person, if you hear about a 50-year-old shagging a 16-year-old in England, the average person has total scorn for them. But they don't want to feed them feet first into a wood chipper. There's a big difference between those two things.
Yeah.
And that's all she said. And this is what I'm saying about them being completely disingenuous. They spend all day, every day going, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? What are you talking about? So that you have to keep repeating yourself and explaining yourself instead of just openly engaging in a debate with you in good faith because they know they can't win the debate because their entire ideology rests on obfuscation and endless lies. They pretend they don't understand what you're talking about. So they've made this fake headline for the last 2 days saying Megyn Kelly's pro diddler, and she isn't. It's preposterous.
No, it's just the thing is that no, of course not. There's a big difference because, for example, I always use the example of Princess Diana because she was 19, right, when she married Charles. But 19, even my 19-year-old Paula was stupid compared to certain 13-year-olds here. And the funny thing is that in the United States, you have certain states where they allow people to get married at 13. So it's the hypocrisy of it all. I do understand that if they had, there's a big difference also if they are not smart, if they come from very unwealthy backgrounds, that they have terrible childhoods where they make themselves more susceptible to these kind, to fall prey to these. This is what predators do, literally, you know, because a child coming from a healthy environment clearly will never be a victim to these idiots. Because they have a much stronger moral support, everything that support, you know, people supporting them. But when you have a girl that's been raped since childhood and, you know, grown around drug addict parents, no support or anything, she's going to be an easy victim for them to brainwash, because no matter how terrible their life with him is, it's a step up from the hell that they're already living in. So, but I do understand what you're saying. And Andrew's a freaking pervert, but you know, but he's not a PDF. Basically, that's what I'm saying. The problem is that if they were trafficked, that's where the problem is, because then if they went against their will, like some of the girls were, or they claim that they were, that is a problem. But
well, and that's why the Puma trackies in the UK are so contemptible, because that's what they did, didn't they? They only went after girls from broken homes. Because they knew. Because obviously, if it was you or me and we had a 16-year-old daughter, they wouldn't even dream of attempting it, because they know.
Are you kidding, my son? You mean to tell me you don't have like Ferragamo for shoes? I'm not on with you. You know, you're not kidnapping me. You know, it's like,
no, honestly, some of them, it turns your stomach reading about. This is what I mean. They're just pure evil. This is the difference. Wood chipper behaviour. Like, they're going after these 12-year-olds. And they were from broken homes. One of them I read about, it's like, you knew there was no man in the house. I had a lot of contempt for the mother as well.
You mean you knew there was no man in the house?
A lot of them that go for like single women on benefits. Like, you knew there was no man in the house. And I read about one, and she'd say, no, it went on for months and I couldn't stop it. I didn't feel strong enough to stop it. They'd all turn up around the house and then take her into the car and drive away with her. And I couldn't stop it. And afterwards, she'd come home and they'd drop her off, and she'd just sit in my lap. She's like 12. And just cry, and I'd just hold her. And me being a bloke, of course, I want the offenders to get the wood chipper treatment. But I did have contempt and scorn for the mother. Because honestly, like, I know you're from a bad background. She probably got roughed up by her ex. That's why she's a single. But
I gotta tell you, there's some single moms that still have a moral compass, and they teach her kids morals and what's right and wrong, and they won't put up with that. Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone. I never would do. Even with the Pumas, some of them are all right. But what I'm saying is that she should have barricaded the door. The weakness makes me sick. She should have barricaded the door, put all the furniture in front of them, and then rang the police. But they don't. They got intimidated. And this went on for months. Like, it was outrageous. Because if I was in the house, this is what I'm saying. Wouldn't happen if I was there. I'd be in the kebab shop with a pair of nunchucks going through I'd be like Arnold going through the police station on Terminator 1 if that happened in my local kebab shop. So,
but what do you make of Andrew losing his titles? Do you think that the thing is, though, I don't understand why he's going to live in the private property of the king. I don't understand why this grown man, because this is another thing. People think that they don't have money. Fergie, just in 2019, the BBC just exposed a video of a guy from cryptocurrency going while the queen was in residence. They were filming everything. And Fergie got paid 1.4 million pounds for that little introduction. I don't know how, and she doesn't spend money. This is a woman, basically, from what the Epstein emails, basically he was complaining that he had been supporting this cow for 15 years.
Unbelievable. The shamelessness was the most outrageous about that. Some of the chat might know what you're on about, but yeah, basically there's a letter leaked, wasn't there, of Fergie writing to him.
This is 2019, 1.4 million pounds. And she's the worst mother of them all, because the mansion that she bought in England, in Belgravia, it was using her daughter's money. It wasn't her money. And then she sold it. And I guess she gave the money back. But this woman has never spent her money. This woman, from what I was told, she's worth over $200 million. So this, oh, poor me, poor me. And Randy Andy, I believe that the downfall of the royal family is going to be the finances when it comes out, because I don't know why the secrecy. There shouldn't be any secrecy. But what do you think of him? Do you think he should be investigated or what?
Well, everyone should get investigated who's got ties to them. But again, I'm far less optimistic than you. These things will just never happen. They don't care.
Look, Andrew ended up losing his title, Prince, and I said it would happen, and it did.
It's not really a punishment, though, is it?
No, it's not. But people were going like, oh my God, that's enough punishment, losing the titles. Well, say that to the women he diddled with, like having to put up with a sweaty ass because he does sweat.
It's ludicrous. I don't sweat. Palaver. Yeah, Fergie's a shameless parasite. A parasite.
Well, the daughters are not far enough. One of them was just entertaining, giving tea in the Middle East right now.
It's unbelievable. You know what's weird? The Americans are so nice. The Americans are too nice. They love everything about the UK because it's like, they spawned the country. And it's wonderful to live here as a Brit because they are the lovely people. They're just nice to me everywhere I go. The stuff I get away with. No. But what annoys me is they're too nice because people like Fergie, talentless ginger parasite that she is, was never liked in the UK. But when I first come out here, they're like, oh yeah, they'll put her on chat shows and stuff. I was like,
Oprah, that fat cow is always everywhere.
Yeah, a big, horrible, fat
ginger. I don't know why Oprah doesn't come out of the closet. She just went to the Kardashian wedding. But Gail, is Stedman even alive? Oprah,
I have no idea. And she's a good example, Oprah, of another reason why America's the best freest sort of Western nation. But it just makes it more laughable to me when still to this day they whinge about racism, whinge all the time. Like, I thought Obama would put a stop to it. Because think about it. You can't sit there and make a proper argument that you're downtrodden and oppressed when a middle-class black man becomes and this is what everybody calls him, literal leader of the free world for I nearly said tours, military man, for two deployments. Two deployments as president.
Two terms.
Yeah. Right. And then, so I thought after two terms, I thought that would have been the end of it. But still, in 2025, because the world's gone mad the last tenure, they'll claim now in 2025 that America's more racist than it was 100 years ago. And this is 10 years after we had the black president who everybody loved.
And Big Mike talking about being oppressed. Have you seen her? Big Mike talking about being oppressed.
Well, you like this. I had to go to her last week on Twitter because I was saying how I've been radicalized by real life. Like, I was a centre-left liberal Obama voter when I moved here. And now I'm like, God, I hate them all. I've been radicalized because back in the day, I never used to believe conspiracy theories. And then last week, Big Mike put a thing on Twitter saying, oh, buy my new book, it's amazing. And I quickly commented under it and said, yes, the hardback edition is as thick and rigid as Big Mike's cock.
I'm sure it was deleted.
But it's unbelievable, isn't it? Like, I never believed anything daft back in the day. Now I'm like, yeah, Big Mike's got a cock. Epstein got murdered. They lied about that. Like, I believe all of it.
God. That's true. We have to do an episode because I talk about the moon landing because I just got through some stuff and it was like, Matt is going to know more about it. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because I don't know if you know Harry came to Canada, right? And he came for invited by True Patriot Love, right? This is a charity organization that's for the veterans. I wanted to go and boo him, clearly, right? So I was going to borrow like this megaphone.
I thought you might.
Yeah, because it's here in Toronto. So I was going to borrow this megaphone. I know he was going to be at Sunnybrook. For a man who's not part of the royal family, he had a full-on motorcade. You would have thought it was a president. I am, and I'm writing to everybody here because I want to know who paid for that because I wasn't even allowed to get like within 500 meters of Sunnybrook Veterans Hospital. They were asking you where you were. You couldn't even film stuff. There was a bomb, what you call it? One of those people against bombs. It was like, I counted 7 from the distance where I was, police cars. And then we took off because I was there. When he took off, there were like 7 cars and 2 more and 3 unmarked cars that were with him. This man got the full presidential treatment, and I would like to know why.
Yeah.
And then you know what the bastards did? Because I also did go to the gala at night to boo him. They were playing loud. They had a live band playing when he got out of the car, and they started playing "Fly Me to the Moon," which is one of the few songs on YouTube that you cannot upload.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they copyright you,
Didn't
but
know that.
you know that you have 2 types of copyright strikes on YouTube. It's like they won't monetize your video, but then there's copyright that they will give you a strike.
Right.
Yeah. So this one, they give you a strike. So they played "Fly Me to the Moon" when he got out, and it was so loud, and we were booing. I was still booing. There were some guys calling him a traitor, you Todger. Like, there was, so you could even, a couple of them you could hear their voices. I played that little clip, when he's walking, but the shamelessness of this man, to show his face, exploit veterans. He's worse than Megan, this man.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he knows better. He was raised in the royal family.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's just endemic corruption from the, like, as I said, the corridors of power. Just the corruption, the thieving, the lying, the cheating, the sneaking. They're just the worst among us, aren't they? Which is getting back to my plan about just binning a lot of them. I mean, look at Weinstein, about the Meryl Streep and that was saying, oh God, they're all fawning over him. Every single person in the room knows about it. And this is what I'm getting at. Not only does every single person in the room know about it, tens of millions of people know about it. My missus was telling me she's more interested in the sort of gossip stuff like you than I am. I like war and anger rather than the sort of celebrity gossip. But she was telling me she's seen a documentary or whatever about it. And she said, all the girls, a little schoolgirl, the entire school nearest to his house, wherever it was he lived, knew about it, because the entire school and the local police department all used to laugh about it and say, oh, if you go to that Epstein fella's house and give him a massage, he'll give you $500. And all the schoolgirls used to like bully the ones who'd go and take the money. He was paying schoolgirls for a massage at his house, and all the school knew about it, and all the parents knew about it, and all the police department knew about it. So it wasn't even just every single person on Capitol Hill and in Hollywood and all the media. It was literally tens of millions of people knew about it, and everyone who lived in the vicinity was gossiping about it, and they kept it all under wraps because these people are scum. Honestly.
No, but this leads me to believe that he was here in an official capacity, and I've been going and writing to. I went to the police station and I put a complaint, right? And they said, who should I complain to? Well, you have to go to City Hall because they're the ones who organize for VIPs and stuff like that. They don't give you the answers because the only way otherwise you would have people like Victoria Beckham getting full-blown security because she's a celebrity. Because Harry's a private citizen, unless he came here in a government official capacity. That's the only way you get that, because he has private bodyguards. So I got to ask why he went, if Charles is still behind it, because and then I read that this visit was planned and condoned by King Charles, because apparently there is some sort of problem with his oldest son, Prince William. But it is like, I'm thinking this is so corrupt because this is a new government here in Canada.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be playing like that. I understand Trudeau is a wanker dating Katy Perry. That's gross. Both of them are gross.
Katy Perry's absolute. Katy Perry's been absolutely rinsed. I wouldn't go near Katy Perry with a barge pole. If I was going to shag Katy Perry, I'd put like 3 rubbers on. I'd put 2 rubbers on and then just like duct tape a bin bag around my entire ball sack just to be sure. God. Like, she must be riddled.
But it's terrible, And I was thinking because and there were these veterans outside that were booing him. And you couldn't hear the boos because the fucking band started playing louder. The people were, the more we yelled, the more they played. And then when I tried to upload it, because even through the band you could hear, then immediately got distracted. And then they said, well, you can play, but then we would have to lower the voice. So I accepted that. But you can't. It also gets rid of the boos, like. So it's so stupid how they're getting smart about it, because they want to gaslight again into people doing that.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things I was thinking a lot about, because I was thinking, Matt, like looking at what they with the BBC, this is terrible, and people don't get this. This is really, really bad. I think Donald Trump should sue them for 2 billion, not 1 billion.
I think Donald Trump should exercise his right to have the US Air Force carry out an airstrike on Broadcasting House in London and just bomb it into oblivion. It'd be a few hundred casualties, but it's a war. It's a war, and you want to make an omelette, you got to break some eggs. I think you should call the US Air Force in and get on it.
I mean, isn't that something, Matt, though? Isn't that something that people get so riled up? And I mean, I have to tell you, like, people are still saying, oh no, I saw these reporters, and the reporters going, oh no, Trump is evil. He wants to do away with the BBC. The BBC has been a paragon of truth. And like, fuckers, get out of the way.
Ludicrous.
No, it just by Panorama with Princess Diana. And the problem is that because that idiot managed to interview Princess Diana, that gave him credibility, and he managed to trick Michael Jackson into interviewing him, and he screwed him over. I mean, these people have been horrible for years. Jimmy Savile, need I say more? That Hugh, what was the name of that guy? Hugh, the latest one that 10,000 grade A pictures were found in his computer. The one who announced the Queen's Edwards.
Yeah.
And thanks to him.
Not only do I know who you're talking about, I've personally seen his arsehole about 200 times. I'm sick of seeing photos of it. I've seen Hugh Edwards' chocolate starfish more than his mother. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. This is what I'm saying, though. You can talk about it forever because you'll never run out of the great and the good degenerates. There's millions of them. Have you heard about Fetterman as well? There's a good conspiracy theory. Fetterman. And we all slagged him off. You know who John Fetterman is, right?
No. Or maybe I do it. Maybe I'm terrible with names, but when I see
he's the bald US congressman who always wears a hoodie.
Oh yes, okay, I know.
Well, in the last 6 months, he's gone off the reservation because he's a populist. And again, I've gone from hating him to kind of liking him a bit. I mean, I disagree with all of his politics because I've told you this. I do bounce around still. Like, I like people that are willing to disagree with me aggressively. I like them way more.
Debating?
Than fence sitters. Like, for example, I made a video today about this Welsh communist who's talking bollocks, saying immigration's not a problem. But I prefer him to the wishy-washy lying conservatives or the Starmer types who pretend to have a position just to play this Machiavellian game. I much prefer an out communist or an out socialist like Bernie Sanders to someone who pretends to be a conservative who isn't. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point I'd make. And this Fetterman, despite me not sharing any of his politics, he is a populist. So on certain things like immigration, he has come out and said, of course it hurts working class people. Like, it's common sense. If you bring 20 million illegals in and they're doing work under the table, of course that's not good for working class people. Of course. Obviously. But they won't say that. So
Economy 101, I mean.
I know. You and I know this. But he's gone off the reservation a little bit. And then last week it said he had a fall in his house. And I was like, oh, there we go. There's Clinton. She probably got him in the chokehold in the kitchen or something. I mean, she's there, break his legs, boys, with a sledgehammer or something. Like, who knows what goes on behind the scenes? Who knows?
I wanted to show you this clip because I want to see what you think of it, because it has divided a lot of people. I want you to tell me what you think, and we'll see.
How dare you come here? How dare you? He is severely autistic. He does not understand. Don't you dare!
He's calling me names.
I don't care. Don't you dare!
Okay.
You have seen him a few times. He is severely autistic. Yeah. You hear me? Don't you dare do stuff like that.
What?
Don't what me. You knew exactly what you was doing. Don't you dare. He is a nice little boy. I don't care that he can come to tell an adult. Don't you dare.
No, that's Caden.
Don't you dare. That's not nice. I'm not raising you to be a good.
Who's filming it? Who's filming it, though, is what I want to know.
Sorry for his brother's behaviour. And you've made him freak out like that. How dare you? How dare you make him feel like that?
How do you know?
Are you blind? Are you blind?
What do you make of that?
Well, again, you know me. Like, first of
I
all, I
like her.
don't.
I like her. That's called being a mother. It's called being a discipline. You don't need to sit with a child and talk to him and let him explain your feelings as to why he did that. You fucker, you did that. You're gonna go apologize, you bastard.
I don't disagree, but you know, like I'm all over the shop. Like, I like
Go
firm
for it. Disagree
parenting.
with me. Disagree with
Yeah,
me.
I like firm parenting, but I didn't like the fact it was all filmed, so I feel like it's a little bit soft.
Okay, no, it's
It's
because one of the parents was there when she started screaming because they thought they
right,
were gonna shame her.
right.
The whole point was
Well,
to shame her for being a brutal parent.
yeah. Well, no, I like aggressive parenting, but just for entertainment purposes, it'll be devil's advocate and say, but what's the big deal about calling a Mong? Insulting him. Like, he said that the kid started it and was calling him names. Well, I don't think being
No,
autistic gives you a
he
fucking.
was lying, and there was a follow up. The kid
Like,
made that up.
if
Little
some
bastard.
if some Downey was calling me names when I was 10, I'd have been like, shut its same face. You know, I'd have started giving him some shit back. I think a little bit of gentle bullying can be character building for a kid. So, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about that. There was one in my school. When I was a kid, right, there was a mobile next to it. And they used to let big, like way older than us, go in there if they were like handicapped. And
What
one
is
of
a
them was it's like mongoloid or something. It's like a slang term for a.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Man, I've been off the
Yeah.
reservation.
But what I'm saying is, in the 90s,
Native
we did
Americans, you
used
know
to
what
we
I
did
mean?
used to pick on them. That's all I'm saying. Like, because they used to be mental. This big scary Downy who used to come into our school. He was like way bigger than us, and he was violent. Like, we used to be terrified of him, so we used to torture him, and he'd chase us. And if he caught whoever it was after, he'd kick the shite out of them, and we'd all be crying, laughing. So we used to do it on purpose, like. And that seems fair. Like, we insult him, he beats the living shit out of you if he catches you. Everybody else has a good laugh. So we used to torture him. We used to be like doing the, you know, whenever we like walk past us. So he'd chase us and, you know, engage in a bit of. So if you do a little bit of it, it's not the end of the world, is it? A little bit of bullying, a little bit of
It depends,
violence.
but I think he was. What I liked about him is that the comments were brutal against her because how dare you talk to your kid like that? It's like she's a
Who cares about
mom.
that?
But you know what I mean? It's like I've heard that. Oh no, I'm going to put him in the feeling stool. I never knew
The
about any of
feeling
those
stool.
feeling stools or the feeling couches. Like my mom is like get one of those. You know, like my mom's best friend was one of those sandals that they smack you with. You know,
Chancler.
yeah,
A chancler.
chancla.
I know, because I'm married to
Like
a Mexican American. I've
my
heard
mom
about it.
was never.
Yeah.
My mom was a triple black belt on that shit. You know, it's like
Yeah. No, my mum used to knock the shit out of us.
no,
Yeah, well,
no talk back for me. You know, it's like I wouldn't even dream of interrupting an adult conversation.
when my mum was bad, she used to grab whatever was closest to hit us because
Oh
we
yeah,
knew when you're a kid and you know it's kind of bad now, but I still laugh about it. But when she was ill, because she had cancer, my mum, she died when I was 10.
yeah.
And when they're ill, when you're young, you don't fully understand the implications. All I knew was I could take the piss out of my mum more than I used to, and she was slower, so she struggled to catch me. So I used to be a little twat to her, and she's sitting there in a wheelchair because she'd been getting chemo, and my uncle Ian said that she told him that I kept taking the piss out of her, knowing that she was too slow to get up and grab me. So she said, "Get me a cricket stump from the garage." And he said she had it hid down the side of the chair. I don't know any of the backstory. I just know I would give her some lip, and she just went, boof, and just hit me over the head with a cricket stump, and I ran off crying. Like, she used to twat me
I'll
with
give you
anything.
something to cry about. That's
Yeah,
another thing.
She
They
used to
would
twat me
be
with
beating
anything.
you.
I
They would
remember
be
getting
smacking
malleted
the
with a
crap
cricket
out of you.
stump anyway. Yeah.
No, but it's funny. They'd be beating you up and you're crying. Oh, shut up. If you keep crying, I'll keep beating you. I'll beat you if you keep crying, but you're beating me. It's like, I'll be quiet.
Yeah, she twatted with
But
all sorts,
people,
my mum.
I'm so shocked because I know nowadays these progressive parents, and they're like, oh, the feeling couch. You have to tell us how you feel. We cannot yell or raise our voice because it's going to traumatize
What a
you.
load of bollocks. What a load
No,
of
but
bollocks.
that's how they do it. You know, like I was watching. You know, what's wrong with telling a kid no, grounding her, or him or her.
Well,
You know,
I've always said that I think that it is good for you having a very firm parent
oh
because
yeah, hell yeah.
it didn't do me and my brother any harm, and we've both done really well in life, and we're dead disciplined and hardworking. And I've always said this, and now I've got sort of an allegorical tale that proves me right because A few years back, me missus, so my brother-in-law, they had a massive row, and they don't really talk anymore. But basically, when they were discussing what had gone on with the mother, he started crying. He's like a bit of a fanny. And me being an Englishman, I'm totally scornful of that. Like, I can't stand seeing a man cry. As soon as he started doing that, I was like, ugh. Like, I'd be less upset if he got his cock out in front of me. It was awful. I was like, ugh. And she was telling me afterwards, he started crying, going, "Oh, my dad was so mean to me." And she said afterwards, she said he wasn't mean to him. He said, like, the worst he ever did was like one time he made him wash his mouth out with soap because he like swore at his mum or something. But she said he never used to hit him. He wasn't like, and I was like, yeah, well, me and my brother, my dad used to knock the shite out of us with weapons, and we used to laugh at, and now we all get together in the pub and laugh about it. And my dad will be like, "Hey, do you remember that time I headbutted you?" And my brother's like, "Oh yeah." You know, like, and we have a chuckle about it. So, and that really happened. I was about 11, so I think my brother will have been 15. And they were doing that thing when they get to 15, they start thinking they're a tough guy, don't they? And he squared up to me dad and went, "Come on then." And I always remember my dad went, "What's that there?" And he like pointed down at his shirt. And when my brother looked down, my dad went burf and stuck the head on him, like laid him out. And we'd still laugh about that to this day. So the people that were actually, you could argue, were somewhat abused, don't feel like we had a bad childhood at all. And the bloke that was softly, worst he ever had was a telling off. He's sitting there crying, going, I was so badly treated. So, end of the day, it's good for kids to be quite rough with them.
Yeah, it's like, no,
So
we don't want to say the word no, because the word no is negative and it impedes their growth. Screw you. Like, I heard the word no so much, I thought that was my official language. I mean, what are you talking about? Not the word no. But I want to show you, we're going to close with this because this is really funny, Matt. And I thought, this is another example of woke gone wrong.
Affect your well-being.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ricky Gervais, and this is Dutch Barn Vodka. It's made from British apples, and it tastes great. But, like all strong liquor, it can affect your well-being. Like, guy I used to know, Paul Cornish, right? Best footballer at school, good-looking lad, started drinking way too much, lost his job, ended up homeless. He sucked off a businessman once for a sandwich. Dutch Barn.
That's pretty good.
But do you know that they banned his commercials? The stupid stammer is even taking down his billboards because they're offensive.
Ludicrous. Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Basically, we need to get back to business, though. We need to get back to the 1980s, where you can slap your kids, where you can call someone a chopper, where you can whistle suggestively at women, where you can generally enjoy your fucking life and make crass jokes like that.
I don't mind the whistle. The problem that I have is when they do this, like I'm some fucking.
That's a weird foreign thing. That was a weird.
Yeah, they
all
do
you
that
get in
in
England was whistling.
No, in Italy they do that too. In Italy, in some areas they go, and I'm like,
I don't even know what that means. What does it mean? I thought it was like
African. A cat. It's like to draw your attention. So I said to the guy, "Better touch my ass than do that to me again. Just touch my ass, and then we'll get it out of the way so I can smack the shit out of you. But don't go calling me like I'm some sort of pet, like a cat. You know when you call a cat or whatever."
See those filthy continentals? As usual, the English have the right way of doing it. We have a good sense of humour. I remember being at a football match when I was a teenager at Middlesbrough, and one of the players got injured. And when the player gets badly injured, the St. John's ambulance used to come running on like a charity. And there was 3 of them, and one of them was a bird, and she was quite tidy. And then one of the blokes started chanting, "Get your tits out, get your tits out." And the whole stadium joined in. There was about 20,000 blokes standing up going, "Get your tits out for the lads." And like, she was crimson, this lass walking off the field. Much better, right? Much more acceptable. I'm sure she loved it, really. 20,000 men.
Yeah, that's so funny. But it's like now being a mom or like a strength parent. I saw this little thing of the whatchamacallit, this child in a supermarket literally grabbing the stuff. The employees are filming her and throwing, and she's like a 12, 13-year-old kid. There's nothing wrong with this one. You've seen it, huh? She's throwing everything on the floor, and everybody's terrified because they don't want to interrupt her. They're terrified of base. Had it been my shop, I can tell you there's no lawsuit that you're going to be safe from, because I would have kicked her ass so hard.
I know, it's unbelievable. I told you I was on an airplane once, and there was a little kid who was about 4, and he was proper fat. He was about 100 pounds. He just looked like a basketball, this little fat thing. And they're all like, oh, isn't he cute? And I just want to say to the mother, again, I'm too polite. I just want to say, well, here, if I was in charge, you'd be in jail, love, because a kid that age shouldn't look like a fucking medicine ball. That's because you're feeding it nothing but mayonnaise, you stupid bitch. Like, it's...
Do you remember, what was the
It's
newspaper
cruelty,
in the
though.
US that had the page girl, the girl on page 8, that she was all sexy? What was the name of that? It was famous if you were that girl on that page on the Sun. I think it was a page 8
Oh, page
girl.
3
Page
girl.
3. Although you remember, so I guess you were one of them who were looking for the page 3 girl, huh?
Oh,
You
yeah,
were
I was a
famous
fan.
if you're, this is a national paper, guys, right? And the girls were gorgeous.
Yeah, it was great. Again, this is what I was telling a lad last week on the street.
That is another perv.
I'm a 90s nationalist. I'm a 90s nationalist. I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I don't think we have to throw absolutely everyone who's foreign out of Western Europe. I just want to go back to 1992. In fact, what year did Definitely Maybe come out? I'm going to pick that as my year. What was that year? Because that was an amazing...
Which one? The year I was born. By the way, my birthday, I turn 57 on Sunday. So I'm going to be having a live. I'll send you a link if you want to drop by. A bunch of YouTubers are going to drop in by. So
all right,
say,
shoot me a link.
link
Sunday, I'll come. But no, I'm a 90s nationalist. I want to go back to 1994. Everything was better in 1994. You could flirt with women. You could have a bit of a banter with them. You could bully children gently. You could discipline your kids. Everyone wasn't a fat fucker. Victoria's Secret girls didn't have an arse like the back end of a bus and a face like a fucking melted welly. Like, what's with all the howling models nowadays? I want to see attractive women on billboards. And men, for Christ's sake. This is what makes me laugh when they talk about misogyny. The men were all buff. Calvin Klein men all had a six-pack and a tight ass. I don't want to see a fat truck driver on a Calvin Klein underpants advert. I'm all right looking at buff men as well, thanks. I just want attractive people on the billboards. Is it too much to ask? Real life's depressing. There's ugly people everywhere. Just put the good-looking people on the billboards and stop making me look at big, horrible, fat, saggy, baggy, porridge-faced women trying to sell my wife knickers. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen. So 1994, we need to go back there.
It's like you have to aspire to be ugly. I don't know what the deal with that is.
And this is what I've told you. I've ranted about this. I've done a video about it because they call it societal engineering, or it's because of
what is it called?
They say that it's a social programming done. Everything like the communists, because it's all lies. Everything that they try and argue, they say is down to a social construct. It's because of society. They say the reason that men like attractive women, funnily enough, they never say that, they never ever go, oh, women like men with six packs. They never care about that. But they say, oh, the reason men like tall, attractive, leggy women with a thin waist is because they've been programmed by society. And it's a lie. And you get these big, fat, ugly feminists, because they're always fat and ugly, going, oh, it's a lie. I'm just as attractive as Kate Moss. These howling women. And it's not, it's science, because we're an evolved primate. So we go for women that look healthy, and men do it, and vice versa. We go for partners that look healthy. So we like good teeth, clear skin, bright eyes, thin waist, athletic physique. It's because you want strong offspring. And yet these horrible green, yellow-toothed, porridge-faced fat fuckers say, oh, no, it's just societal programming. If it wasn't for society, all the fat ginger women would be sexy. They wouldn't. You're living in a fantasy land because you're a communist.
I mean, just like this one, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this map?
Degeneracy.
There you go.
Degeneracy.
There you go. It's disgusting where we are. You know, it's like they want to get rid of the women. They don't want women role. It's like being a woman. I kid you not. And this really.
Didn't you just prove me right? You never saw two fellas in a fucking bed with a kid in 1994. In 1994, the minuscule amount of people that said they were trans used to actually put some effort in. If you got a bloke who said it was back in the 90s, you wouldn't even be able to tell. You wouldn't be able to tell. You'd see an unusually tall woman and she'd have put so much effort in to changing her appearance, you wouldn't even know. Now you get a big hairy welder with a beard going, yeah, I'm a woman, you fucker. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So 90s nationalism, I'm promoting it. 1994, we need to go back there.
Oh, thank you very much, Jules Indigo Blue. So we're gonna get going, guys, and I'll see you on Sunday for my thing. And I'm gonna leave you, Matt. Thank you so much, and I put your channel. Go subscribe, and we need to get you to 100,000. You know, you
Yeah,
have no idea
YouTube have
when you
got.
get to 100,000. I think I'm gonna be crying and drinking. We should do a live drunk live when you get to 100,000.
YouTube have put the thumb on the scale, but as long as they don't throw me off the platform, I will get there in the end. I'm a stubborn man. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you on Sunday.
How many subscribers do you have? You have 78 guys. I have 100,000. So guys, we can get 20,000 to hop over to Matt, 30,000, and just subscribe to him just to spite YouTube.
All right. I'll see you on Sunday, Paula. Thanks for having
Okay,
me.
well, thank you, gorgeous. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
So yeah, guys, thank you very much for coming. Please go subscribe to Matt the Angry Butnik. He's fantastic. I'm doing a live on Sunday, and I have a video coming about Harry and the forgery in the court case. And there is an official investigation going, and I have so many details. I've been waiting to post it because I'm gathering a lot of information. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. See that I'm not saying subscribing. And have a great night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in my video. Watch out for it and go, please subscribe to Matt. Let's get him to 100K. Have a wonderful Saturday, beautiful people.